Okay, so now that you have got your different views and you have added your center marks and center lines, you can start to add dimensions. Before we do that, just a quick word. Sometimes what can happen is when you start adding dimensions, it takes up a lot of space and you really wish you could like change the size of the font so you could fit in more numbers and that kind of thing. I'm just going to delete that one. So up here in document settings, you actually can do that. So if you click on the gear beside document settings, it'll open up a very detailed document settings dialog box, and be careful changing too many of those. What I recommend you do is in the space underneath document settings, you can go and edit just a few of the main ones. And so the one you really want to edit is probably the text height group. By default, it is set to medium. But if you find that you want more space for all of the dimensions, if you change that to small, it'll change the dimensions of the numbers, and that'll help you to fit everything in. So that said, let's start dimensioning. So I think I'm going to dimension the top view here because it's a nice simple one, and we can talk a little bit about how to do it all. First thing you need to do is make sure you understand what it means. So that's why I like to have the isometric view here. So what I can tell from looking at this top view here is I can see that these circles here are actually the circles on the bottom. And then these lines here, these are actually the top of this, piece sticking out right here. So it's important to know what you're doing the measurements for. And so to add the dimensions, you just go and get your dimension tool and click on the two edges that you want to dimension. And then you can just drag it out and click, and it'll add the dimensions. You can also just click and it'll sometimes try to select the line, like in that case it did, but often it won't select the whole line. So you're better off to be really clear on the beginning and ends of the measurement you're making. So we probably want to have the thickness of that in there as well. So now let's talk about the circles. So you can see here I actually forgot to add center marks to these circles. So before I go and do any more dimensioning, I will add my center marks. And now I need a few things. I need the radius or the diameter of this circle. So if I click on the dimension tool and I click on the outside, it will automatically default in this case to the radius. That's what the line, circle with a line in it stands for. If I right click, I can just change it to radius, and it will change that to a radius of 3. So depending on which you think is the more useful dimension, you can dimension your circles that way. So we'll just put that there. And now we won't bother dimensioning these other ones because they're all the same, but we still don't know where this hole is going in relation to the edges of my shape. So there's a few different ways you can do this. But for now what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called ordinal referencing. We're going to reference this circle to the edges here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hover over the bottom line, go click, and then I'm going to hover over this line right here, which is part of my center mark. And so now I can say that the center of the circle is 9 millimeters from the bottom. And now I'm going to hover over the side of my shape, and I'm going to hover over this other part of my center mark, drag that down. And so now it's clear that the circle here, these are the dimensions from this fixed point. So you can continue on to add other dimensions. Remember, you only need to add each dimension once, and try to orient them so it doesn't look too cluttered and it's easy for someone else to understand.